Welcome. Good morning. Whatever time you watch this, it might be good evening, I'm not sure. I have spent the greater part of my ministry welcoming people I can see sitting in front of me. So I have to say every Sunday I find it a little bit of a challenge to say, how can I say welcome instead of looking into your lovely faces, I'm looking into a camera. And as I was thinking about that, the welcome, I started thinking about really how we really used to welcome one another, and we will again after the pandemic, is we'd hug one another. We'd hug one another. I would always walk around the sanctuary and hug everybody that I could. And your hugs sustained me, and I hope my hugs have sustained you. And so I felt a little sad when I was thinking about that this past week, about how this pandemic has taken hugging away from this, and that away from us. And I'm not okay with that, because I love hugging people. It's just a way to connect. I'm what I call a universal A-frame hugger. Loving everybody is a joyful part of my job, and my heart is really in my hugs. That I really feel from my heart when I hug you, and I want you to feel loved and affirmed, because everybody needs to feel that way at one time or another. Some people don't need a hug, and we always respect that when you come here, but many of us do. Many of us want a hug. It's a grounding connection. And so it has occurred to me that this might be a good time for you to become an actual tree hugger. I mean, if you don't practice hugging something, you might lose some of your hugging mojo. So sometime soon, when you're outside and near a tree, why don't you go over and give it a hug? There's actually evidence that plants and trees have sentience. And I'm willing to hug a tree as a fellow being. I probably won't do it when the neighbors are watching, but I'll sneak out and give a hug to the tree. And if this is too much for you, you can just hug a tree and think of somebody you wish you could embrace and send loving thoughts to them. And so I send a virtual hug to all of you this morning. Let's send virtual hugs to one another as we welcome you to this worship service. Welcome.
Our opening hymn this morning is Come Ye Thankful People. It's number 68 in the Gray Hymnal.
Come ye thankful people, come, raise a song of harvest home. Fruit and crops are gathered in, safe before the storms begin. God our Maker will provide for our needs to be supplied. Come to God's own temple, come, raise a song of harvest home. All the world is but a field, given for a fruitful yield. Wheat and tares together sown, here for joy or sorrow grown. First the blade and then the ear, then the full
This Sunday, may we affirm and give thanks to the beauty of the season, the warmth and love of family and friends, and the ever-flowing resilience and creativity that is within all of us. May we recognize the gift that our presence on this earth can be to others as we say our affirmation. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world. Each week, we light 3 chalices. The first is for this congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. The second chalice we light for our Unitarian partner church in Siemens-Falva, Transylvania, Romania. And the third we light for our children and youth, both in religious education and in the world at large. May the light of these chalices restore the light within us. May we acknowledge that light within others. And may we be the beacon of hope and love to a hurting world. Please join me in singing The Flame into Life.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Hello and welcome to the Time for All Ages portion of the service. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about how an attitude of gratitude often makes all the difference. This story is called The Gratitude Necklace, a Thanksgiving story by Allison Cruz. Once upon a time, there was a little wood on the edge of a farmer's field. It was late autumn in the wood, and all of the creatures who lived there were excitedly preparing for their annual harvest celebration of giving thanks. The gnomes, who watched over all the creatures of the forest, were busy making food and decorations, and the squirrels and mice and rabbits and all the other animals were happily helping out where they could. Yes, all the creatures were feeling quite festive and looking forward to the big event. All but one. There was one little gnome who was not exactly in the festival spirit. His name was Willow, and while he was usually a happy little gnome, he was feeling more grumpy than thankful right now. You see, winter had made its appearance a bit early this year, dropping a foot-deep snow blanket over all of the forest. The first winter storm also brought some gray, foggy, very cold days. Winter was not Willow's favorite season, and he was feeling too grumpy to go out and enjoy the snow the last few days. He preferred the warmth of the summer sun with the long days and green everywhere. Like all little gnomes, Willow had been out gathering food for the winter ahead, but he didn't have very much firewood yet, and his home underneath the roots of an old oak tree was a little chilly from the early winter weather. He woke up one morning feeling cold, and he knew he would have to venture out for more firewood. After a little breakfast, he went to get his snow boots from the trunk in the closet. He pulled them on over last winter's wool socks and soon discovered a hole in one of them. Something had chewed all the way through the foot. Willow grumbled about this as he opened the door to his snug little house with his hat in his hand. As soon as he stepped out, a big blob of snow fell plop right on his head, and he didn't even have his hat on yet. This left Willow feeling more cold and more grumpy. He pushed on and began gathering sticks for firewood and putting them in a little bundle on his back. And as he walked along, he heard the sound of laughter. 2 of his friends were building a snow gnome and having a great time. But Willow grumbled to himself, "Why, they didn't even think of inviting me over. They left me out of all the fun." He walked on, kicking snow clumps, without stopping to talk to his friends. Willow made his way toward where the cattails grew to get a little fluff for a tinder, because a cattail fluff makes the best tinder for fire. He was walking just on the edge of the farmer's field, feeling very sorry for himself, when all of a sudden he tripped on something hard and fell down with a silent thud, face first in the snow. He lay there for a moment before picking himself up. "Could this day get any worse?" he said to himself. He reached into the snow to pick up whatever it was that tripped him, fully intending on throwing it as far as he could. He found the object and grasped it, and upon pulling it out of the snow, Willow saw that it was a beautiful ear of corn. The kernels were so colorful, with different shades of yellow and red and blue, deep and bold like jewels. It was, in fact, the most beautiful ear of corn that Willow had ever seen. As Willow looked at that ear of corn, he plucked off one little kernel. It was blue and already dried by the sun, perfect for grinding into flour. He looked up at the sun and down at the little kernel in his hand, and he felt the warmth of the sun on his head, and he felt a wave of gratitude swell up in his heart. He plucked off one more little kernel, a yellow one, and remembered the delicious corn muffins his mother always made for the harvest feast. He felt even more gratitude, making him feel warm inside. He gave thanks for the gift of corn and headed home. Willow's walk back was a little different. He noticed that the snow created a blanket of warmth for many creatures living on the ground. And he noticed that the sunbeams made the snow sparkle and everything shine. And as Willow walked past his friends, they saw him and they called out, "Willow, there you are. We were looking for you. Do you want to help us build a snow gnome? We sure could use your help to get the hat just right." Willow smiled, thankful for such friends. And after enjoying time with his friends building the snow gnome, he headed home to his snug little house. He started a cozy fire and placed the colorful ear of corn on the table. He began popping off the kernels one at a time. With each kernel, he remembered a thought of something that he was thankful for in his life. Fire, his home under the roots, food stored away for winter, family, and friends. The more he worked on the corn, the more he felt thankful for everything he had. Willow put some in a bowl for grinding into flour, but not all. Some of the kernels he put aside, and with these he made a necklace. It was a beautiful necklace. The colors were deep and rich, and he put the necklace around his neck, knowing that he could touch the corn any time he needed to remember how much he had to be thankful for. That evening, Willow joined his family and friends and all the creatures of the wood in their harvest celebration of giving thanks, his gratitude necklace around his neck, and a smile on his face. Please do consider joining us for the Children's Religious Exploration Time being held at 9:45 a.m. on Sunday mornings via Zoom. Blessed be and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you for that beautiful story, Lily. Let's take a moment to center yourself where you are. See if you can feel the deeper, truer rhythms of life beyond all the hectic rushing and worrying and fretting. Recently, I was in a conversation with a dear friend. It was only after a good while that he opened up regarding some deeply painful and personal issues in his life. Even though he's a good friend, I had not been aware of his struggles. And I am so grateful that he felt he could trust me and know that I would listen without judgment, but with compassion. Sometimes, to practice true compassion, you need to sit still and listen and be with your loved ones and your friends and let things unfold. Let trust and love grow. And then there will be space for compassion. I invite you now to think of your own life and your relationships and the reality in which you live. See if you can discern where the call of compassion is directing you. Who is in special need of a call, a safe hug, a warm word? Let us hold all beings in compassionate regard at this moment. Let us be aware of all the suffering. Let us be aware of our ability to bring hope and healing and compassion. Compassion is our way. And gratitude. This past week, I got off another Zoom meeting. And I started to think of all the folks who have some significant role in keeping our beloved but socially distanced congregation going at this time. There's so much to do. And yet volunteers and staff figure out what needs to get done. And they do it. And it's amazing. Even as I say these words, I'm looking at a room full of a few good volunteers and Lily, who are doing so much for all of us. And beyond that, there are good members and friends of the congregation, you, who contribute and participate. And I am so grateful, as I know you are too, to have a community such as ours with whom we can share our precious lives together. Think now of those who make your life possible. Think of all the hands, all the hearts that have been engaged so that you might have a good life. Think of all the
Please remember to help stay connected to this community by sharing your joys and concerns on the website, so that then we may share them through this, our live stream services weekly. Thank you.
Our pastoral hymn today is We Gather Together. It's number 349 in the Gray Hymnal.
We gather together in joyful thanksgiving, acclaiming creation whose bounty we share. Both sorrow and gladness we find now in our living. We sing a hymn of praise to the life that we bear. We gather together to join in the journey, confirming, committing our passage to be a true affirmation in joy and tribulation, when bound to human care and hope, then we are free.
Let there be bad hair days. Let there be bad hair days. You know, where the ends stick out at weird angles or half as curly and half as straight. You know, one of those days where nothing goes right. You spill water on a wooden table, damaging it and potentially some important papers. You misinterpret what someone says and delve into a dungeon of despair. You set a wine glass down on a friend's house, only to miss the coaster, spilling the wine and breaking the glass. Sometimes there are just bad hair days. But you know what to do. You pull out your spiritual resources to help you pull through. You try teachings from Jesus and turn the other cheek, only to be outside in the blazing heat and get sunburned. You try the calm centeredness of Buddha and detach from the situation. Only you do it while driving and wind up entangled in a tree. You grab your voodoo doll to quietly get back at someone, and you stab the needle in your thumb. Sometimes there are just bad hair days. You're told to count your blessings, but it's hard to concentrate when you've got a sunburned cheek, a car in the shop, and a sore thumb. So what are you going to do when the karmic fates seem to be putting ever-increasing obstacles in your path? Well, I've got a solution to your problem. Do you want to hear it? Okay. Here it is. Actually, I don't have a solution. All I know is that there are going to be days like that, and you can't fight it. Maybe take a moment, a breath, and notice the world around you. Notice the humor that is ever present. Notice how fragile human psyches are. Notice the compassion that comes your way. Notice and be grateful. So let there be bad hair days. And if you see me with my few white hairs sticking out at weird angles, you'll know why. You don't have to tell me they're there. I know. You don't even have to ask why. You may not want to know. But I'd be ever so grateful if you just slip the chocolate inside the door and back slowly away. Careful, not to trip. Let us be grateful for bad hair days.
Thank you, Sarah. And I'm pretty sure that everybody watching in can say, yeah, this is a bad hair day for me, but I'm just glad to have hair, so I'm happy with that. I was thinking back a long time ago, early in my life and my ministry, when I got married. When Ed showed up for my and Gordana's wedding back in 1988, I was really surprised, to say the least. Not that he wasn't welcome. Everybody was welcome at this celebration, but Ed had not told us that he was coming, nor did I even think it was possible. And yet, there he was. There he was. And there I was, very early into my first ministry at Emerson Unitarian Church in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, where I served for 6 full and great years before I came up here. The congregation was wonderful. They provided a lovely festive reception for the occasion, and one of my former intern supervisors, Reverend Carolyn Owentoll, she officiated as Gordana and I tied the knot. And I had expected all this good help from these good folks, but Ed coming to my wedding to show his support had not been on my radar. Ed and I had become friends in Atlanta when we were attending the university where I went on through pretty much straight ahead. I wanted to get my degree because I had taken some time off and went back to school. But Ed was a perennial student. He was always taking more classes. He was always switching majors, never seeming to be able to launch himself out into the world. And I understood why. It was hard for Ed. Ed had cerebral palsy, and moving his body from one place to another took a lot of effort on his part. He had no family to speak of and not much money to live on, pretty much out there on his own. And yet somehow he scrounged together Social Security disability payments. I don't know how he did it. He scrounged together enough money to buy a round-trip Greyhound bus ticket from Atlanta to Los Angeles and back again. And coming out to Los Angeles, the trip involved any number of stops and transfers and took the better part of a week. And Ed had never even been outside of the South before, never crossed the Mississippi River. How did he do it? We asked him, how did you do it? And on each leg of the journey, he told people why he was making this arduous journey, and somehow someone always made sure that he got to the next bus, that he always had meals to eat. In effect, a nationwide chain of human kindness came into being and helped him cross the continent until he somehow struggled up on his crutches at Emerson Unitarian Church in Canoga Park, California on the appointed day, May the 28th, 1988. And were we surprised? I was surprised. No one else knew who he was, but I was totally overwhelmed. I was touched and gratified by the efforts of all the other people had put into making our wedding a memorable occasion, but I felt a special sense of gratitude to Ed for coming. What a journey he took. With all the activity of the day, I never got to spend much time with Ed. I talked to him a little bit during the reception, but I certainly couldn't say, hey, let's go out tonight, because it was my honeymoon night. And as Gordana and I drove away from the church to go on our honeymoon, I waved a final goodbye to Ed, wishing I could have had more time to express my gratitude for him. What a show of friendship to come that far to my wedding. This memory calls to mind another memory of a recurring dream I've had a few times over the years. It's the kind of dream you would call, I looked it up, there's not a word for the exact opposite of a nightmare, but it's this kind of a dream. It's a beautiful dream where you sense you're on a loftier plane and you feel a profound sense of wonder. And this dream is visually simple. I'm simply hanging out with early childhood friends, but there's something about this early childhood experience that has for me, a sublime innocence about it. There's almost no action in the dream, just an awareness of the great joy and love there is in pure and original friendship. And when I wake up and I remember this dream, I realize that for me, true friendship has a sacred quality. It calls to mind the way the friendship of the shepherd David and King Saul's son Jonathan is described in the Bible. You all know about King David. You remember that King David was a shepherd before he became the king, and he was really good friends with Saul's son Jonathan. And they were such good friends, and in the Bible it says, the souls of Jonathan and David were knit together in friendship, and Jonathan loved him as himself. I love that description of friendship. The souls of Jonathan and David were knitted together in friendship, and Jonathan loved him as himself. That's intense love. That's intense love. Forming friendships, knitting your soul together with others it's one of those wonderful mysteries of life for me. Isn't it fascinating how you connect with certain people and you form an ongoing relationship, an evolving relationship that's mutually supportive, delightful, enriching, and interesting. However it does happen, my heart floods with gratitude when I think of the many who have befriended me for some time and distance along the path of my life. And here, let me speak not only of friends in the past or even friends in the present tense, but future friends. The world is fully stocked with amazing, wonderful people, and your chances of catching a good friend are very good if you're looking to be one yourself. It's a wonderful thing to find a new friend, and I'll never stop searching for new friends. Some of the dear old ones have passed on, so it's good to keep hitting the refresh button so you don't run out of friends. On our wedding day, as Gordana and I drove away in our car with just married, they scrawl it, they always do at the weddings, they scrawl just married all over your car. Thank goodness they didn't do the tin cans. But when we got out into the freeway, the LA freeway, something else completely unexpected happened. People were honking, and at first I thought, these LA drivers are honking at me, and then I realized these people are congratulating us. These people are honking their congratulations. It just felt really nice. It felt good. The next morning, Gordana and I looked there was a note on the windshield of our car, wondered what that was. And we had just married written all over our car, so they knew we had just gotten married. And it was from an older couple that had been married for decades. And they wished us the same happiness that they had known. And we wished that we could have thanked them for their well wishes, but we never saw who they were. The more I think back over my life, the numbers of those who I didn't thank properly, it grows. Like my teachers and mentors, especially certain ones in higher education. I never thanked Dr. Sizemore for her help in affirming me and steering me in the right direction. I even tried to look her up on Google a couple of years ago just to say, are you aware of how much of an impact your advice and your suggestions had on my life? I never got to thank her. I never got to really thank Dr. Sessions either. And during my theological education, I never went back and thanked Drs. Craddock or Fowler or Hoffman for the vital roles they played in my education, and they've all died by now. Then too, how could I ever begin to thank the many members of the two congregations where I've served for the past 35 years? I just could not begin to thank all the people that I've known and loved during my ministry. Not to mention all the wonderful people I've met in the interfaith community. A flood of friendly faces scrolls down through my memory. Your faces from so many times and places. What a cast of characters. What what a cloud of witnesses. It's overwhelming in a good way, in a good way. Which leads me to one of the key reasons I appreciate being a Unitarian Universalist. Some religions say that you're born flawed, with original sin. You need to be fixed or saved. And we say, no, you're not broken. You're not broken. You're not born with original sin, but rather, as the renegade theologian Matthew Fox put it, you were born with original blessing. You were born with original blessing. Simply put, you and I are blessed and given the chance to be innovative and loving in our lives. And we trust in the ultimate goodness of human nature. And that conviction is foundational to our liberal religious tradition. Matthew Fox further noted that what is called the evil in human nature receives far too much attention, and our innate goodness receives far too little attention. And I think that's true. It is true that we are capable of doing cruel and selfish things to one another, but that's generally because our perceptions are skewed by ignorance and delusion, not because we are inherently bad. My experience is that the vast majority of people are inclined towards goodness, and those who are not are generally badly wounded and lacking and are deserving of our compassion, even as we must protect ourselves from them, but they deserve our compassion. Wherever I go, I continually witness the goodness of human nature. Our hearts are naturally inclined to love. The great purpose of a religious community such as ours is to enable us to realize our creative and our loving potential amongst ourselves and in the world beyond. We're here to bless and be blessed by one another. We're here to bless and be blessed by one another, because no one, absolutely no one, can make it through this life journey alone. I think of how my friend Ed trusted in the goodness of human nature, and he discovered there was a nationwide chain of human kindness that suddenly appeared to help him cross the continent. And my life has been like that too. I know surely on that long journey, Ed worried sometimes if somebody would help him, and there were long stretches of loneliness, and that's been true for me, but my life has still been like that. There's always been somebody there for me in countless ways. Many times I probably haven't even noticed. A long chain of human kindness all through the years, up to this very moment, has enabled me to find my way on the path of life. And if I tear up, just know those are tears of gratitude. I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful. The great Buddhist sage Thich Nhat Hanh has given us the phrase interbeing. I love that phrase, interbeing, to describe the reality of our lives. As he notes, we share this precious gift of life today. Tomorrow, we don't know about. We don't know about tomorrow. And so living with awareness of how fragile life can be, we cherish this time we do have together and feel grateful for one another. My favorite Shakespeare sonnet, Shakespeare writes, Then can I drown an eye unused to flow for precious friends hid in death's stateless night. And indeed, I have wept. I have wept for friends who are now gone and live in my memory and in my heart. So I'm grateful, especially for the friends I still have today, like my good buddy Pete. Pete was my best man at my wedding those many years ago, and our souls truly are knitted together in friendship. No matter how long we're apart, whenever we get back together again, we just pick it up. That's the way that kind of friendship is. One afternoon a couple of years ago, I was visiting Pete back in Maryland, and his wife Heidi snapped a photo of us. The two of us had a panoramic view of the Appalachian Trail in the background and had our arms around each other, and half a century of friendship with countless stories and memories between us. And as Heidi snapped the photo, I made a snappy comment. And I said, well, I wonder whose memorial service slideshow this one is going to show up at first, yours or mine, Pete? It's the kind of photo I often see at memorial service slideshows when you see a person with their best friends. And I immediately realized that my quip was more than a quip. It was a reminder, a reminder. A reminder. This is a good Thanksgiving, to be reminded of all those with whom you share this life, especially since it's not easy for us to gather in person. Perhaps you can take a moment to gaze back upon your life. Remember the family, the friends, the colleagues, the teachers, the mentors, those kind strangers, all those who helped create a lifelong chain of human kindness that has blessed you. Think on these things, and you will be thankful, even as I'm thankful to you. I'm going to let the poet Wordsworth have the final word of this sermon. Thanks to the human heart by which we live, thanks to its tenderness, its joys, and its fears. To me, the meanest flower that blows can give thoughts that do often lie too deep for tears. Would you join me in a period of meditation, a gratitude meditation? Think back over your life. Remember your parents, your grandparents, the aunts and the uncles, the good friends. Think of growing up and remember the new friendships you formed as you went along the path of life. Remember those who reached out to you in friendship. Remember them. And if they are gone, you can weep. Remember all those who have touched your life. Remember them. Be aware how we are in this world together. Be aware of all that has been given to you, that you, in turn, might give of your love to those around you. Amen.
We support UUCS through our pledges, our time and connections with one another. We support the Salem community through donations to the Marion Polk Food Share, and for the month of November, the Santiam Canyon Wildlife Refuge Relief Fund, established by the Santiam Hospital Service Integration Team, helping families affected by this year's devastating forest fires. Please send your checks to UUCS or visit the website to donate. Thank you for maintaining the community of UUCS and for helping the wider community of Salem.
kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll sit at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed.
We take the light from our chalice, lighting the social justice candle, as a symbolic reminder of the light and justice we carry out into the world. As we extinguish the chalices, may we take the time this week to notice our gifts and blessings, be they great or small, and may we give thanks for how they influence our journey along life's path.
Please pay attention to the various notices of upcoming activities in the life of this congregation. So you'll see it on the website. I just want to draw your attention to the various things that are happening. We have some plans coming up for our Christmas Eve service, so please stay tuned for that. We're hoping to have a candle walk and also a live stream service here. You will not be able to come to the service, but we hope for the candle walk that we will be able to do that. So stay tuned for more information about that. And I'd like to turn it over to George Struble. George, just a note of thanks to you for all you've been working so hard on this legacy campaign. I'm so grateful to you. We're all grateful to you. So thank you, George.
You may remember my talk last week about Tuits. I am happy to report that some Tuits found work in this last week. One member told me that she is designating $8,000 per year to UUCS from her IRA for the rest of her life. And she is in good health, I'm happy to report. Also, 3 members are making cash gifts with a total of $7,000. Not only those, I learned this week of a previously made bequest of $150,000. These bring the total of previous commitments that we know of to $1,035,000, and the campaign to $348,123. Our legacy campaign ends today. I hope that there are still a few more results to get to me in the next few days. We may yet qualify for the $50,000 challenge gift. We don't at this time. I want to thank all of you for your generosity and for stepping forward to reinforce the long-term financial health of our congregation. I hope that a bunch of you who did not make a commitment to this campaign will do that in the future when the time is right for you. You don't have to wait for another legacy campaign. And if you would like a little help thinking through how best to provide for UUCS, as well as your other priorities, you can still call on me. Thank you.
Our closing hymn today is Give Thanks. It's number 69 in the Gray Hymnal.
Give thanks for the corn and the wheat that are reaped, for labor well done, and for barns that are heaped, for the sun and the dew and the sweet honeycomb, for the rose and the song and the harvest brought home. Give thanks for the mills and the farms of our land, for craft and the strength in the work of our hands, for the beauty our artists and poets have wrought, for the hope and affection our friendships have brought. Give thanks for the homes that with kindness are blessed, for seasons of plenty and well-deserved rest, for our country extending from sea unto sea, for ways that have made it a land for the free.
Let us imagine joining hands with our community members, guests, family, and friends, saying these words together. May faith in the Spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.